to share with you what chiropractic college I attended. I went to the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in Toronto. We had 4 years where we studied intensely anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, toxicology, physiology, maybe even said that. We studied every ology we could find. We spent the most time working on adjusting and anatomy and connections and understanding health and overall how to make a massive difference in people's lives. It was one of the most wonderful experiences of my life, not just because I worked really, really hard and was passionate about what I was learning, but because I went to school with some of the best people, a bunch of healthy, passionate, excited people. It was pretty darn awesome, and now I get to share that with you every single day. I hate hearing stories of someone who's had pain for years and years and years and has never been able to do something to change it. And so here's a quick tip to get people started to help out. Please know you can always call our office at any time and we'll do our best to get you in. But the quick tip for today is really this: move your body. Get moving as much as you possibly can. And that might mean stretching and just moving in different ranges of motion. That might mean taking some big breaths. That might mean going for a little bit of walk, but that's usually the biggest thing that I'll get people doing. In addition to that, a little bit of ice if it's a newer injury, a little bit of heat or ice if it's a longer standing injury. But heat and ice both help to decrease pain, as does motion. That's part of the power of chiropractic, is adding motion. It makes such a difference in every way for your health. Happy to help. Today's question is, what are 3 things that people can do to start their journey towards health freedom? And health freedom to me really means that you can engage as fully and authentically and as happily in your life as possible without worrying about your health. Now, that doesn't mean we're reckless with our health. It just means it's not the thing that holds us back. And so for me, those 3 things, number 1 would be stop letting yourself get away with things and start to take account of what's going on in your life that you're constantly letting yourself get away with. Number 2 would be to start to not just what are you getting away with, but what are the things that stop you? What are the actual problems you have? And maybe you have none, but maybe you're tired or constipated or that sort of thing. Number 3 is come into the office and get checked. So often what people say to me is, thank you for giving me my life back. And what they really mean is they actually get to live again. So those are my top 3 for health freedom. Today's question is, what's the most common thing that I see in practice? And while I would see many different diagnoses and many different names for what people come in with, what it really is overload. I see overloaded systems, whether it's too much stress, too much of one type of movement or not enough of another, an overloaded, overburdened physiology or an overloaded, overburdened structure. And then people start to break down. And when we don't give ourselves the tools that we need in order to rebuild, or the time that we need to rebuild, or the input to our nervous system to rebuild, that's when people end up in here. With a diagnosis or a list of pain, it's really just simply that you have exceeded your capacity to heal and it's overload of some sort. So if you're there, or you know someone who is, give me a call. It doesn't matter what the name of it is or what exactly you're feeling. When you're in overload, I can help. In the office, we often talk about healthcare versus sick care. And so much of our world, particularly these days, is about sick care. It's avoiding being sick. It's doing things so that we don't get sick. So my favorite analogy for that is it's like eating healthy so we don't get fat. And of course that happens. That's the choice that a lot of us make. But we can do so much better when we choose healthcare. We eat healthy because we want that vitality, we want that energy, we want that nutrition so that we function really, really well. And healthcare is exactly that. It's choosing health. It's moving towards something as opposed away from something. It's choosing proactive and function and health-focused things as opposed to just trying to avoid what we don't want. It's so much more powerful to choose the things that you do want and move toward health rather than trying to avoid something. Chiropractic is all about healthcare and moving you towards better health and vitality. Today's question is, why do I avoid taking medication? And this is a big one because I don't want anyone to think that we never should or they couldn't or that we would ever judge someone who does. But the reason I don't as my first resort is I have chiropractic. That's often my first go-to whenever I need something for my body. But most importantly, number two, because I don't want to suppress symptoms, I want to make sure that I'm using what my body is telling me, because symptoms is just my body's way of talking to me, to better understand what's going on. So by all means, if it's your wedding day and you have a headache, of course I would take something and just enjoy the day. But most of the time, if I have a headache, if I'm not feeling well, if there's something going on, I really want to use that information to better understand what's going on so that I can take care of myself better. I don't want to subdue it or tune it out. That's my reason. Let me know yours.